All right, hello. Welcome to Com 231 Public Speaking. This is our class for April the 14th, 2020. Thank you for joining and thank you for watching me today. We are about a month away, actually now less than a month away from this course and our semester being complete. I think this was officially the longest semester in the history of semesters. So thank you for sticking with me, and we're going to get through this together. And so let's get right to it. So first of all, I wanted to just briefly mention your informative speeches. If you still haven't turned them in, please do so as soon as possible. We have some people who've had some technical issues, and thank you for communicating those with me. And we're continuing to work through those. And there's some of us that are just kind of missing in action. I've reached out to everyone who was doing really good in the class before, and then when our world changed, we just kind of lost touch with some people. So I hope to bring everyone back to the class, particularly those that were doing really good before, and give everyone an opportunity to pass because of these circumstances that we're in right now. And I wanted to share with you that as a professor, I'm able to see different notes that other professors leave for students when they're reaching out to them. And this is a time where there's a lot of that going on because of these strange times, and we don't know how different people are being affected by what's going on in the world. And it really is just strange to see other professors thinking the same thing that I'm thinking, right? Which is that's unlike this student to just not do the work, to not show up, to not communicate with me. So, if you're a religious person, please say a prayer for those. We don't know what people are going through. If you're not religious, think about each other. Try to focus on what you can control and try to do something to make our community better, because this really is affecting a lot of people. This is not something that we're just seeing on the television and it's in a faraway land on the other side of the world and it seems so detached from our lives. This is a very real thing that's affecting people right in our community. So just wanted to throw that out there. Try to do a good deed or say a prayer or think of other people at this time, because people are hurting right now. And if you remember when we discussed last week, when I talked about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, if you're not safe or if you're not healthy, that was the bottom of his pyramid. So you can't think of anything above that. You can't think about a college course when you're sick or someone else is sick that you love, or there's something very serious going on in your life or in your mind. And it seems like that's happening to people that are very close to us right now. This is a lot closer than seeing something on the news happening on the other side of the world. So anyway, if you're watching this, I'm very proud of you for doing that. And let's focus on what we can control. What we can control is getting through the rest of this class. Okay, so we're almost there. So stick with me, and we're going to get through this together. The people that are watching these videos, I can tell they're watching these videos because I'm getting feedback. You're doing very well in this class. So keep it up. We're almost there. So I have the syllabus on the screen here. Today we're going to talk about chapters 20, 21, and 22. These are our presentation aids, and it's pertaining to having some type of digital presentation to be a part of your persuasive speech. As I mentioned previously, I'm not going to require that because of their circumstances, but you will have an opportunity to have extra points awarded if you were to use a presentation aid in your persuasive speech. I understand if you can't or if you don't want to. So chapter 20 is going to be about speaking with presentation aids. 21 is going to be about designing your presentation aid. And then 22 is going to be about actually using the presentation software. And I'll speak a little bit about each of these. We won't go into a lot of detail about it. The lecture slides that we will discuss are in Blackboard. They're uploaded into the chapter like we've been doing all this time. So if you go to the chapter 20 folder in Blackboard, there will be the chapter 20 lecture notes in there. Same thing with 21 and same thing with 22. I encourage you to look this over. You will see some of this stuff on your Launchpad quizzes and videos, and then in your test 3, which is due May the 8th, which is less than a month away. So we're getting there. We only have a few more chapters to talk about in this class. We have a persuasive speech, and then we have an award speech. So if you look down here at the bottom, you'll want to read chapter 27, your special occasion. That's what this is referring to, your final speech. So we're really getting into the nitty-gritty here. So stick with me. Let's get through this together, okay? Real quick, I wanted to mention, I had asked for feedback about if we wanted to have a live meeting, whether it was on Blackboard, Collaborate, or Zoom or something, perhaps for our final class. I'm just not getting a consensus. Not everyone is responding. If you did, thank you very much for responding. You'll get a few extra points for doing that at the end. But I'm just not sure that I feel comfortable doing that because of everyone's schedules, because of everything that I mentioned before and I've mentioned over the past couple weeks in these videos. If you haven't responded and you would like to respond, please feel free to do that. You know, these extra credit points, they could be the difference between you having a final grade of a 78 or a final grade of an 81, or the difference between a 87 and a 90, or a B and an A. So I'm trying to give you these opportunities to get this extra credit. Sonia just sent me a link to a speech that she saw on television earlier today or on Facebook. That's what I'm talking about. And that was a great speech, by the way, Sonia. Thank you for sending that. So, and there's no shortage of people making speeches right now with everything going on in the world. And it doesn't have to be something that you agree with. It doesn't have to be something that you think is a great speech. And in fact, watching things that you don't like, or you don't agree with the person, or you don't agree with the person's policies, but learning about that and understanding it, just what we discussed last week, about the different ways that people are trying to persuade you all the time. Whether they're trying to persuade you to buy something, or they're trying to persuade you to support them, to vote for them, this is happening to you all the time. And part of this is acknowledging that and understanding how it works, and then taking that same type of mindset and incorporating it into how you communicate with people and how you make a speech to people to try to get them to believe in something or think a certain way. So these are all valuable tools for you. So anyway, I just wanted to mention that to you. I'm going to quickly go through these chapters again because this isn't going to be required. And we'll do that in just a few minutes. Real quick, I just wanted to go over everything that's coming up due. All right, so I've seen a lot of really great and interesting and unique persuasive speech ideas sent to me. So thank you. If you haven't sent them to me, please do it as soon as possible. We're running out of time for this class. I'm trying to be as lenient as possible with these deadlines because I know what's going on. Please, please, please get this to me as soon as possible. I gave feedback to everyone who has sent me ideas. So now your rough draft outline is going to be due on April the 19th. So this Sunday. So you've already got feedback from me. If I haven't heard anything from you, get it to me as soon as possible, and I'll get feedback to you as soon as possible. All right, these speeches are unique, and they require you to have a lot of sources, and we'll pull that up in just a minute, the assignment itself. And if you got feedback from me, I suggested different persuasive methods to use in your speeches. And that's not, you don't have to do that. You don't have to do what I suggested to you, but it's just a suggestion. It's just to get you to think. Ultimately, it's your speech. It's your idea. We saw some ideas. Some of us actually had similar or even the exact same ideas. So it's interesting where our minds go when we want to persuade someone of something. Some of us needed a little guidance as far as whether it's to narrow the idea down. You may have heard the term before, don't try to boil the ocean. And so, think about how big the ocean is. Now think about how much energy it would take to boil the entire ocean. Some of our ideas are too massive. And so sometimes we want to kind of bring it down a couple levels. So I gave feedback about that, but there's nothing wrong with having these ideas. That's why I'm here. It's to help kind of guide you and steer you into an idea that's a little more focused and a little more narrow, and is therefore more appropriate for this class, 8 to 10 minutes, and what we have going on and what we're trying to achieve with this class. Okay, so I'm very proud of you. So good job on your persuasive topic ideas. So I wanted to remind you again, rough draft outline is going to be due this Sunday, the 19th, and I'll get that feedback back to you as soon as possible next week. And then the following Friday, April the 24th, 10 days from now, persuasive speeches and final outlines will be due. So again, we're going to have to record the speech, upload it to YouTube, and then post the link in the discussion board. So the same way as the informative speech. And then again, you'll have an opportunity for 10 extra points to be added to your own persuasive speech grade if you respond to 3 of your classmates' speeches in the discussion board by end of day April the 26th, which is a Sunday. Okay? So in your Launchpad, you can also complete chapter 27, and you can do the quiz and the video by May the 3rd. And also you can do, matter of fact, I'll just update this live right here. I went out of order, so I apologize for that. This would be 4, 5, 20, 21, and 22. And you may have already done most of these, but I wanted to discuss the persuasive topics from last week, because those are much more important as far as for this speech. That's going to be due then the presentation aids portion, which we're going to discuss today, because you don't have a presentation aid requirement for this speech. So that's why I kind of went out of order. So sorry about that. And in reality, you already know that these are all due on May the 3rd, because we've talked in length about that I pushed out all of the Launchpad assignments out to that day. But this was more of an attempt to just kind of have you follow along with what we're talking about. All right, all of our makeup work is open through May the 3rd. And then your test 3 is going to be due May the 8th. So just a couple reminders there. So, all right, I'm going to stop with part 1 of this video. and tune in for part 2, and we'll dive into the presentation aids chapters. Thank you.